So this was a really beautiful question that I want to answer because it's not exactly on topic to module 6, but I think it's important. Maybe it is. Actually, it is. She says she was nervous to ask it, and she said, in relation to less than perfect parenting, which has resulted in your own grown-up children displaying your own dysfunctional patterns and subsequent chronic conditions, and they're not open to motherly intervention. In other words, so she raised kids, she had her own dysfunction, passed it down. She's like, can you ever truly, deeply forgive yourself? I find it more difficult. It's a part of me that I have a difficult time processing, although the tools are helpful. And this is just such a beautiful question. Like, what do we do when what is done, you know, with our kids? They're grown up, they don't want our help. I'll just tell you a story about what comes to mind for me. And I don't know if this is quite the right answer for you, but just what popped in my head as I read that. The thought about my grandpa. I grew up mostly with my grandparents. My grandfather was a raging, abusive alcoholic to everybody, all of his kids, for 50 some years. Lots of damage. Kids all grow up, all alcoholics, all pattern repeated. My grandpa is such a beautiful example of this answer. One day, I remember this, he comes home drunk in the morning, goes into his bedroom, shuts himself in his bedroom for 3 days straight. We had no idea what was going on in there. He came out after 3 days, went to the fridge, dumped out all of his beer in the sink. And he was a different person, meaning something happened in there, in that room. And he had done so much damage in all those years, and he emerged full of light and self-love for himself. His kids hated him. He didn't repair, they didn't get fixed. He couldn't repair that, but something happened in that room. And I asked him after a while, like, what happened? And he just said that, well, basically he practiced the serenity prayer over and over, which is, God grant me the courage, or what is it? God grant me, I can't even say it right now, the wisdom to accept the things I cannot change. No. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And he said, I can't change what I did. And he said, I just decided that the only thing I could change at the end was to love myself and forgive myself. And he got to the point where he was willing to heal himself, despite his kids being a mess, despite everything he had done. And I witnessed a true transformation. He's my first example of family transformation. And I'm so proud of him. And the crazy thing is that, the kids, they didn't really ever develop a great relationship with him, but one by one, his kids all stopped drinking. And how and why that happened is just it's like my grandpa broke the chain and found self-love and just lived the remainder of his days literally serving people and with gratitude. And he didn't repair anything with his kids, but the kids, I watched them over time, my uncles, like, stop drinking, and they'd be like, I don't know why, just didn't feel like it anymore. The chain was broken. Maybe the relationships didn't improve, but there was a miracle in that. Your job, this person who's asking, your only job, you don't know what can happen with your children if you forgive yourself. We don't fully understand this magic of interconnected consciousness, but there is a magic. And he chose to love himself enough, even though he couldn't repair anything. And that's, my journey too, like with my kids, it was terrible for them. I can't change it. They've got trauma patterns. I know on some level, the more I get deeper and deeper self-forgiveness, the more that's available, there's some magic available for them. And, you know, that's another way we heal family lineage. That's why each one of you here, you have no idea what will happen to your family line. Like things that I've healed for me, like have unlocked like stuff with my mom, who we hardly have a relationship, but she's had different healings just based on my own heart. And it's, you know, this is just the miracle that we can't understand, the surrender of what can happen and how it's healed. And this is what you leave to source, to God, or to whatever, to figure out. All you can ever really be responsible for is your own healing. And this work is created to help you with that. So anyway, that was my sermon of the day.